The Philippines has made a groundbreaking move that is sending ripples across the region and beyond. In a decision that has caught many by surprise, the Philippine government has taken a bold step that could reshape the balance of power in Southeast Asia. On August 5, 2025, Manila announced a historic bilateral agreement with China, signaling a new era in their relationship. This deal, reached after months of secret negotiations, marks a dramatic departure from the Philippines' previous foreign policy stance. For decades, the Philippines has been a steadfast ally of the United States, participating in joint military exercises and relying on American support for its security. This new agreement, however, represents a significant shift away from that long-standing alliance, raising questions about the future of U.S. influence in the region. The Philippines, once a vocal critic of China's assertive actions and territorial claims in the South China Sea, is now seeking a different path. By pursuing economic partnership with Beijing, Manila is hoping to turn a source of conflict into an opportunity for growth and cooperation. The core of the agreement centers on economic cooperation, with China pledging significant investments in Philippine infrastructure, trade, and technology. In return, the Philippines has agreed to ease tensions over disputed maritime territories, opening the door to joint resource exploration and development. This strategic pivot is driven by a combination of domestic pressures and urgent economic needs. With a growing population and a pressing need for modern infrastructure, the Philippines sees Chinese investment as a lifeline for its development ambitions. However, this decision is not without controversy. It directly challenges the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy, which relies on strong alliances to counterbalance China's rise. It also puts pressure on ASEAN, the regional bloc, to maintain unity as member states weigh their own interests. For China, this is a major diplomatic victory. Beijing has long preferred bilateral negotiations, where it can leverage its economic and political power over multilateral forums that might constrain its ambitions. The deal with the Philippines could serve as a model for China's approach to other regional disputes. Around the world, governments and analysts are watching closely. Will this agreement set a precedent for other countries with competing claims in the South China Sea? Or will it remain an isolated case, unique to the Philippines' circumstances? The aftershocks of this decision are already being felt in global markets and diplomatic circles. Investors are recalibrating their expectations, while policymakers debate the long-term consequences for regional stability and the international order. For the Philippines, this strategic shift is seen as a pragmatic approach to foreign relations, one that prioritizes national interests and economic development over traditional alliances. The government argues that adapting to new realities is essential in a rapidly changing world. This move signals a broader recalibration of geopolitical alliances in the Indo-Pacific. As countries reassess their positions, the region is entering a period of uncertainty and transformation, with new partnerships and rivalries emerging. The implications of the Philippines' decision are profound. It challenges the existing world order, forces a rethink of established alliances, and may well shape the future of the South China Sea and the wider Indo-Pacific for years to come. Manila's decision to say yes is rooted in a complex web of economic necessity and strategic calculation. The city, and the country as a whole, faces mounting pressure to accelerate its development and improve the lives of its citizens. With a rapidly growing population and increasing urbanization, the need for jobs, better infrastructure, and sustainable growth has never been more urgent. The Philippines is actively seeking foreign investment to fuel this growth, and China has stepped forward with a massive offer: $50 billion in investments over the next decade. This isn't just a number, it represents a lifeline for the country's ambitious plans to modernize and compete in the global economy. Much of this funding is earmarked for transformative infrastructure projects, including the construction of high-speed rail lines, the modernization of key ports, and the development of new highways and bridges. These projects promise to create thousands of jobs, reduce travel times, and connect remote regions to economic centers, unlocking new opportunities for millions of Filipinos. The deal also includes a series of trade agreements designed to boost Philippine exports to China. By opening up new markets for agricultural products, electronics, and manufactured goods, these agreements could help local businesses expand and thrive, while also strengthening the country's balance of trade. Another key component is joint energy exploration in the South China Sea. By working together, the Philippines hopes to tap into vast offshore oil and gas reserves, enhancing its energy security and reducing its reliance on costly imports. This could lower energy prices and provide a more stable supply for industries and households alike. Tourism is also a major factor. With China actively promoting the Philippines as a top travel destination, the country stands to benefit from a surge in Chinese visitors. This influx supports local businesses, creates jobs in hospitality and services, and injects much-needed foreign currency into the economy. For the Philippine government, these opportunities represent a pragmatic choice. Officials argue that prioritizing economic gains and development is essential for national progress, even if it means making difficult compromises on other fronts. After all, the 2016 arbitral award, which favored the Philippines in its maritime dispute with China, did little to change realities on the ground. Chinese activities in disputed waters continued, and no new infrastructure was built as a result of the ruling. Faced with these facts, Manila is betting that economic prosperity and tangible improvements in people's lives are worth more than continued confrontation. The hope is that by engaging with China, the country can secure a brighter, more stable future. Yet the question remains, will these economic gains come at a political cost? As the partnership deepens, concerns about sovereignty, national identity, and long-term independence continue to spark debate across the nation. The deal with China reflects a political realignment in the Philippines. The administration champions strategic autonomy, engaging all major powers. This approach seeks flexibility, balancing economic ties with China, and security ties with the U.S. Nationalism fuels this shift, asserting sovereignty in foreign policy. The deal is framed as an assertion of independence from U.S. influence. Domestic politics play a role, with the government promising stability. The deal aims to neutralize maritime tensions and focus on economic development. A generational shift in leadership sees China as a potential partner. This pragmatic view explores alternatives to U.S.-centric policies. The deal is a manifestation of new political thinking. The agreement marks a shift from deterrence to de-escalation. The previous strategy relied on U.S. military support, but tensions persisted. The new deal seeks crisis management mechanisms like a communication hotline. Critics fear de-escalation without enforceable commitments is appeasement. Proponents argue it offers a realistic path to secure interests. The goal is a stable relationship with China, reducing conflict risks. The bet is that cooperation is a better security guarantor than confrontation. The approach aims to manage tensions and focus on economic benefits. The security calculus prioritizes stability over perpetual conflict. The recent agreement between the Philippines and China has sent shockwaves through Washington, catching many by surprise. The Philippines has long been considered a cornerstone of the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy, serving as a critical partner in maintaining regional stability and security. The U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty, established decades ago, remains a key alliance, symbolizing the deep military cooperation between the two nations. However, Manila's recent pivot towards Beijing raises questions about the future viability of U.S. military access and influence in the region. In response, the U.S. has adopted a strategy of cautious diplomacy, reaffirming its commitment to the Philippines while navigating this new geopolitical landscape. Behind the scenes, there is growing concern over China's increasing leverage on Manila, as Beijing's influence continues to expand across Southeast Asia. To counterbalance this shift, the U.S. may look to strengthen its ties with other regional allies, such as Japan and Australia, enhancing military and diplomatic cooperation. Diplomatic efforts are underway to ensure that the Philippines remains within Washington's strategic orbit, emphasizing shared values and mutual interests. The deal underscores the challenge to U.S. influence, highlighting China's adept use of economic statecraft to sway regional dynamics. In response, the U.S. must develop a competitive alternative to China's economic vision, focusing on sustainable development and fair trade practices. This pivot signals a significant shift in regional alignments, prompting a re-evaluation of alliances and partnerships. The battle for influence in Southeast Asia is increasingly centered around infrastructure development, trade, and investment, as nations vie for economic and strategic dominance. The deal sends tremors through ASEAN, complicating unity. The Philippines' bilateral approach with China shatters the hawkish coalition. ASEAN's code of conduct negotiations with China face setbacks. The deal plays into China's divide and conquer strategy. ASEAN's consensus is threatened, paralyzing decision-making. Maritime states see the move as a betrayal of regional solidarity. The division weakens ASEAN's collective bargaining power. The deal lowers conflict risk but strengthens China's regional position. ASEAN nations must navigate complex strategic dilemmas. The agreement alters the South China Sea dynamics. The 2016 arbitral ruling is sidelined for a pragmatic approach. The shift questions the role of international law in disputes. The deal may discourage legal challenges and embolden China. China's presence in the South China Sea consolidates further. The agreement is a temporary truce, not a final settlement. Sovereignty and resource rights remain unresolved. The potential for future friction persists. The new chapter is one of managed, contested status quo. The deal's aftermath could unfold in several ways. Optimistically, cooperation leads to economic growth and stability. Pessimistically, failed promises lead to renewed conflict. A future incident could break the agreement, escalating tensions. A new administration might reverse the policy, causing backlash. Realistically, an uneasy coexistence balances economic and security ties. The relationship remains complex and transactional. The path depends on China's behavior and domestic politics. The US and regional actors must offer compelling alternatives. The region's future hangs in the balance, fraught with opportunity and peril. The Philippines' deal with China marks a watershed moment. Economic necessity and strategic autonomy drive this bold path. The move challenges US strategy and weakens ASEAN unity. It's a victory for China's bilateralism and economic statecraft. The Philippines prioritizes economic gains over legal victories. The security shift bets on managed cooperation over confrontation. The consequences force the US to reassess alliances. The future holds cooperation, conflict, or coexistence. The agreement redraws Southeast Asia's geopolitical map. The Philippines' gamble has profound regional implications.